to help develop our state and take ticks as much as they want. So chiefs agreed. So when they take the ticks, all the money is for the community. And where they fell the tree, they develop it according to the revenue. And now we send them to the national government, and this is not our work as per now.
According to Futio, the Ugandan company will use revenues generated from the activity to construct roads, airport, schools, hospitals, water systems and electricity, among others. Forests, according to the country's constitution, are a national resource managed by the national government. When asked whether he consulted with the national government, Futio says they are yet to seek approval from the concerned ministry. But he hopes that his decision will be considered, saying he did it according to the needs of the state.
As a governor, the national government will accept our decision because the state is really suffering. As a governor, I am now moving in a car that is full of dust. We don't have to pay our attention to the oil only. The oil cannot develop all the country. Last year, the undersecretary accused the governor, Potillo, of illegally cutting the trees in the state.
This came after Futio signed a memorandum of understanding with the same company. For iRadio News, I'm Rosemary Wilfred.
You are listening to iRadio News. The National Task Force on Coronavirus has reintroduced tough lockdown measures after a surge in coronavirus cases in the country. As of Tuesday, the Ministry of Health had confirmed 54 new cases and 1 death, bringing the cumulative number of deaths to 66 and a total tally to 4,160 confirmed cases in South Sudan. In a move to contain the resurgence of the virus, the government has banned all social gatherings. In a statement, the National Task Force says it has observed negligence in observing the coronavirus preventive measures. The chairman of the National Task Force and the vice president in charge of Service Cluster, Hussein Abdul Bagi, read out the statement.
Due to the recent surge in COVID-19 pandemic in the country and around the globe, and as the precautionary measures for all the public and private sector, the National Task Force on COVID-19 is hereby putting in place the following measures. 1. Ban all the social gatherings, such as sporting events, religious events including Sunday prayers, Salat Juma, mosque prayers, funerals, wedding ceremony, and political events. 2. Closure of all free schools, universities, and all the other institutions of learning, except classes which are required for examination with the observation of strict protective measures. 3. Both private and public sector to make provisions to allow the non-essential staff to stay home on a paid leave or retain their staff in shift.
The National Task Force also closed all businesses that attract crowds, which includes shisha stalls, bars, nightclubs, birthday parties, betting, cards and dominos. Boda riders have been ordered to carry cargo or strictly one passenger wearing a face mask, and public buses are permitted to take passengers to half capacity. The task force permitted rickshaws to carry only 2 passengers at a time and deliver cargo goods. The task force also states that wearing of face masks is now mandatory and citizens must observe social distancing while avoiding handshaking. You are listening to iRadio News. The prominent chief of Lanya says some herders from Terikeka have dishonored a resolution over the recent peace conference asking them to return to their home area. Last week, a peace conference between herders from Terikeka and the Pojulu community resolved that Tali community leave Pojulu land within 1 week to avoid further communal violence. But Chief Simon Ladu says cattle are still roaming and destroying farms in the area. He told iRadio yesterday that about 3 cattle camps still exist in Lanya, with the herders intimidating, threatening and beating locals.
Na wakati fagia mamudare filanya bujur pita gabana pita sontori kutara state.
We signed a peace with the Mundare in Lanya in the presence of the governor of Central Equatoria State and the cabinet minister Elia Lomoro, and a committee was also formed with Paramount Chief as part of the committee. We reached an agreement with our brothers, the Mundare. When the chiefs left, the headers returned some of the cattle they forcibly took from the locals, though not all. Just 3 days ago, the Mundare headers came and burned houses in Lokurubang and left my people homeless, and others fled the area. Secondly, as we talk, I was in Logwili. Days ago, there are 3 cattle camps at present in the area, and the headers graze their cattle in the farm of the locals.
Attempts to reach representatives of the herders were not immediately successful. Fighting amongst communities from Terikeka in several parts of Central Equatoria State has been recurring, with little being done by the authorities to stop it. Chief Ladu appealed to the Central Equatoria State and the national government to intervene to avoid further communal violence. And before we cross to the international scene, a High Court judge in Awil, Northern Bar Agazel State, has denied accusation of judicial corruption labeled against him recently. On Monday, Arjal Deng accused Judge Abraham Majur of altering a ruling he made hours after he announced the verdict. On the 25th of January, Judge Majur sentenced 5 men to 3 months in prison for robbery with violence. The convicts are John Piol Bol Mawen, Ugan Garang Goy, Muhammad Tong Mawen, Ani Ngok, and Majok Adol. The court found the convicts guilty of robbing and torturing businessman Deng William Ajal Deng last year. The judge ordered them to pay general damages to the complainant worth £8,330,000. The court also ruled that the convicts pay £50,000 each as a fine to the court. However, to the accusation, Judge Majur says he did not alter any ruling he made.
It's the mandate of the court to adjust. For example, if during the announcements of the judgment, you say number 3 or 2, and that 2 or 3 are supposed to be 8 and 7, and in the records are there in 8 and 7, that one can be brought into attention of the court, and in accordance with section 255 is the court to correct that clerical error. But in this particular case, there was no kind, and that is why the records are there to speak for themselves. The record of 2 lawyers are there. The record of the courts are there. The court is opening. They have a power. They have a chance to appeal to the High Court, then to the Court of Appeal. Then, if at all I alter the judgment, then the court of degree would not be the same. But I did not alter the judgment.
You are listening to iRadio News, and now to the international scene. Here is my colleague Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Kelly Abale. In the international scene, Myanmar's military rulers have blocked access to Facebook days after they overthrew the democratic government. Officials said the social media platform for many in Myanmar, the only access to the internet would be blocked for the sake of stability. Facebook has become a key rallying point for opposition to Monday's coup. In further civil disobedience, lawmakers are refusing to leave their compound in the capital, and more port banking was seen in Yangon. Elsewhere, Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives have refused to punish a newly elected Congresswoman over controversial and Edition 3 rhetoric. Marjorie Taylor Greene has promoted unfounded conspiracy theories and shown support for violence against Democrats. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy condemned the remarks but said they were made before she was elected. Democrats who control the chamber say they will vote to expel her from the Education and Budget committees. The vote is set to take place on Thursday. And finally, a UK trial has been launched to see if giving people different COVID vaccines for their first and second doses works as well as the current approach of using the same type of vaccine twice. Currently, official guidance from the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization says anyone already given the Pfizer, BioNTech or Oxford AstraZeneca jab as part of the UK's approved immunization program should get the same vaccine for both doses. The idea is to provide more flexibility with vaccine rollout and help deal with any potential disruption to supplies. Scientists say mixing jabs could also possibly give even better protection. That's all in the international scene. Back to you, Kelly Abale.
Thanks, Yula Subamemo. And for the stories making headlines in the world of sports this afternoon, here is my colleague Okot Emmanuel.
Good afternoon, welcome to iRadio Sports. A look at the local scene. The Juba Local Football Association has called off the quarter-final games between Malakia FC and Amarad United FC, which was to take place today at 3 p.m. This comes after the National Task Force on Coronavirus reintroduced total lockdown measures after a surge in coronavirus cases yesterday. The government has banned all social gatherings, including sporting events, religious events, wedding ceremonies, funerals, and political events. It also ordered for the closure of all learning institutions except classes scheduled for examination, with observation of strict preventive measures. Meanwhile, Atalabara FC won 4-1 through sport kicks against Munich FC after full time ended 0-0 to make it through to the semi-finals. In a wheel, Scorpion FC won 3-1 over Al Jazeera FC on penalties, and today Dengnial FC plays Apada FC. Morocco will defend the African Nation Championship title against Mali in Sunday's finals in Yaoundé after the holders thrust Cameroon 4-0 in Wednesday's semi-finals. The Moroccans were simply too good for the hosts as a double from Sofiane Rahimi, at a side of goals from Sofiane Boftini and Mohamed Ali Bemamer secured a comprehensive win. Boftini opened the scoring in Limbe when Cameroon goalkeeper Hosco Querido suffered a moment to forget, dropping a free kick at the feet of his opponent just 5 yards out. Rahimi doubled the lead 6 minutes before the break as Morocco Cave opened Cameroon defense in the disarray as he slid home a fine layoff from Abdelila Hafidi to become the chance top scorer. Barcelona survived a major scar to reach the Copa del Rey semi-finals at Granada's expense. Extra time goals from Anthony Griezmann, Frenkie de Jong and Jordi Alba sealed a dramatic victory for Barca, who had trailed 2-0 until the 88 minutes. Late goals from Griezmann and Alba forced extra time after Kennedy and Roberto Soldado had scored for Granada. Fede Vico briefly made it 3-3 from the penalty spot in extra time. The visitors registered 36 attempts at Granada's goals, 20 of which were on target. Thanks for listening to iRadio Sports. My name is Okot Emmanuel.
You're listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. A teenage boy is being held by Awil authorities for breaking a woman's neck in a scuffle yesterday. Diplomats and UN representatives say the operation of gender-based violence court in Juba will now stop impunity for sexual violence against women and girls in South Sudan. And the governor of Western Equatoria State has signed a 5-year contract with a Ugandan-based private company to harvest teak worth $2.5 billion US. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can also get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alerts on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700 or dial star 700 hash and follow the instructions. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 912 986 986. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Kelly Abale. Thanks for listening.
It's a bang, yeah, another one for the ladies. Son boy, Granny yo, yeah, boy, yeah. Forget about the stress, baby, and come roll with me. I wanna give you some joy. A million genie when me having a this heart of mine. Come and take and deploy. Oh, no matter with the pretending. Better know so that the world is not ending. No matter how long it has been pending. Woman, I come to guarantee a happy ending. Ooh, talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. Cause that's me, yeah. Talk to me, baby. I wanna know what's going in your mind. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me. Talk to me, baby. Cause that's me, yeah. Talk to me, baby. I wanna know what's going in your mind.
I say, what I want go on in your life. Don't you be afraid, talk to me, Cause I can see it in your eyes. Say I'm gonna treat you bad, and you really need somebody to love you like how you're supposed to be. The love keep pulling you close to me. So how am I supposed to know when you're not even chat to me, baby?
Woman, you are the chosen. See me a knock on the door, it have it open. Come check like it frozen. I bring the fire, make it hot up like a oven, yeah. That's where that heavy lady be to a waist like a movie in the making. Yes, I me choose and I'm not mistaken. Whenever you there, both my feelings are waiting. That's why talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. Cause that's me, yeah. Talk to me, baby. I wanna know what's going in your mind.
I wanna know.
Talk to me, baby.
Talk to me.
Talk to me, baby. Cause that's me, yeah. Talk to me, baby. I wanna know what's going in your mind. You don't know what you've been through. I never could have know what I've been through you. You need somebody to talk to. As pretty as you, they nothing do you. Take away the shame, don't shine no more. Girl, come talk to me, don't cry no more. As me come in your life, don't search no more. Girl, come talk to me when you want some more. Yeah. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. I wanna know what's going on in your mind. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. Cause that's me, yeah. Talk to me, baby. I wanna know what's going on in your mind.
I say,
talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby.
Talk to me, girl.
Talk to me, baby. I want to know what going in your mind. Talk to me, baby.
Talk to me, baby.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, baby. I want to know what going in.
Are you looking for a bundle that will address your needs to talk, chat, send messages? Then you just got covered with Zain all-in-one bundle. You'll be able to get free messages to call Zain numbers, send messages and access the internet at the same time. Simply subscribe by dialing *103# and select from our daily, weekly or monthly bundles to suit your needs and budget. Enjoy talking longer, chat more and send unlimited SMSs as Zain is always here for you.
Zain, a wonderful world.
You are right where you deserve to be. Your eye on South Sudan.
مش طبيعية تشوفيني تغير حالك وتريكي معجبة بيا وانا برضو بقول كمالك نظراتك مش طبيعية تشوفيني تغير حالك وتريكي معجبة بيا وبرغم انك حلوة وطعمة وفيكي احلى الصفات وبرغم انك فعلا اجمل واحدة في كل البنات قلبي مشغول بغيرك وبحب واحدة غيرك يمكن مش أحلى منك لكن مالية عينيا يانا 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 ويانا ويانا يانا 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 ويانا ويانا
مباشر من جوبا على الهواء وعلى الإنترنت.
ده آي راديو، عينك على جنوب السودان.
أهلا ومرحبا بكم لزمن نشرة الأخبار.